Hello and welcome. You're watching Startup Wednesday. India is the world's third largest startup ecosystem, and last Saturday the government unveiled its startup policy to make it easier for young Indians and budding entrepreneurs to start up. An event that brought entrepreneurs from across the country together and made headlines following the Prime Minister's big announcements. And we spoke to some startup biggies at the event to hear what they were looking forward to. First up, Kunal Bahl of Snapdeal and why he believes that starting up in India should only take one day. How's the event looking like? And you're here, you just finished your session. How was it?
It was fantastic. I think the whole initiative is fantastic. I don't know of many large economies in the world who've taken startups so seriously and made starting up such a proud thing to do, such a thing that people want to do as compared to a thing they have to apologize by doing, which was partly the case when we started. I think right now starting up is a thing every young person getting out of every engineering or MBA college in the country wants to do, and they must. What our country needs, as I keep saying, is not more policy, we need more entrepreneurs.
So the issues that startups are wanting the government to address, the ease of doing business, the taxation policy, easy exits. I mean, when you've also spoken about the problems, the issues that you faced when Snapdeal was just starting out. How much easier or how much better is it going to be with the intrusion of government for startups, for entrepreneurs to be able to sort of build the next billion-dollar companies?
I think we'll have to see what the government is proposing, and only then can we really make an assessment on how it's going to help. We have a very progressive government and a government that's clearly supporting startups. They don't have to do all this, right? They're doing it because they really want to. But we'll have to look at the details to figure out how does it become easier. It shouldn't take a month to register a company. I mean, just at a bottom line, it shouldn't take a month. And entrepreneurs who are 17, 18, 19 years old don't have the time and energy to wait for 30 days for a company to get registered.
And what are some of the key lessons that you believe that we can learn from, say, Silicon Valley, if we were to speak of, to sort of better the ease of doing business here in India?
I think there are many things, but we have to solve some basic things first, which is creating a mindset of entrepreneurship in our country, which I think an event like this will absolutely work towards doing.
Well, that was Kunal Bahl. Moving on, with the government keen on supporting startups and entrepreneurship, the Commerce Minister Nirmala Sitharaman told NDTV that it will be possible to register a company in just 24 hours and that the government will only act as a facilitator for startups.
With us, someone who's going to play a very key role and has done so in this space, the Commerce Minister of India, Nirmala Sitharaman. Thanks very much, ma'am, for taking our 2 minutes to speak to us. Now, both from what you spoke in the morning and what the Finance Minister said, there are lots of people here who've been speaking to saying that the government's making it quite clear that we want to sort of step back a little and only sort of leave this space to you, get everything organized and then step back. We are not don't want to sort of have our hands dirty, as it were. Is that a fair interpretation, you think?
I'll tweak it a bit.
Sure.
The ecosystem exists. People are already there. Funders are already in there. We are looking at the ways in which we can help in removing further any clutter that may exist there, so that startups, as they have been there, struggling a bit, needn't struggle even that much. The government can just be at a distance and be a kind of a facilitator in the process.
Ma'am, one of the things that you spoke about and we should be looking at is the ease of doing business. I mean, they have the World Bank rankings and we're doing better than we have, but there's a long way to go. We just had top founders of our unicorns, Kunal Bahl of Snapdeal among them, just speak to us, NDTV, a short while back and say, it should take 1 day to set up a business in India, not 30 or more. Do you believe that we can genuinely get to that stage and the ball has been set rolling to get there? Because there's a lot of cynicism on that front sometimes.
I can understand the cynicism, and there will be hurdles in the process. But the commitment of the government has already been shown in that we brought states along and made sure that they partner in this effort. And they wouldn't keep themselves away from getting themselves ranked. Then the processes have been identified to further simplify the process. So in a way, states are partnering. We are showing a lot of will in moving forward in this. And this commitment is what it's going to take to get over that cynicism. And yes, it's going to be possible to have your business registered within 24 hours.
Well, great news for startups there. You can now register your startup using just an app in under 1 day. Also present at the event were startup founders who are using technology to create disruption in the healthcare space. We spoke to Shashank ND, the founder of doctor searching platform Tracto, and Anuradha Acharya, who's the founder of a genome mapping startup called Map My Genome. Take a look.
Healthcare is a space where India can use all the help from people like you that it can possibly get. What for you has been, say, one of the most challenging things that you've had to encounter? And what do you want the Prime Minister, importantly, to say today that you believe is going to change things for others like you who want to get into the space and make a real difference?
So, Natasha, 8 years back when you started this the venture to change healthcare, not too many people gave two college kids too much of a chance.
Right.
They said that it's a mammoth industry, it won't happen. But I can tell you that with the help of technology and with the help of the spread of internet and mobile in this country, things have changed. There are 100 million searches each year where consumers are searching to find doctors, labs, finding the best healthcare for themselves. And we're connecting people and doctors in ways that have never been done before. So we're making things more accessible for people, making things more affordable for Indians, and we're going to continue doing this going forward.
Any one particular thing the government can do, anything that you want the Prime Minister, that you would like the Prime Minister to say, anything? Is it taxation? Is it regulation? Is it mentoring? Is it investments? Is it all of them?
I think there are two very important ones, and I'll talk about the first one, which is actually a lot more to do around financing. I think financing is one of the constraints that startups have. So having better financial products. There's a product in the US in the Silicon Valley called convertible notes. These convertible notes make it easier for smaller, younger startups to get capital. And today many startups are moving out of India because this financial instrument is not available in India. So this is the first one. I think more financial products, maybe not today, but even putting the emphasis on it will be very helpful. The second one is a little more tactical. I'm a big supporter of net neutrality, and net neutrality is why we are here today as Practo. This country has a lot of startups, and internet has to be protected at all means. And today we are threatened by a few initiatives which may take this freedom away from us. And if that happens, Natasha, I'm very worried about the innovation that this country can produce, and we might become, we might slow down in our ways in which we're moving.
Where do you get the confidence from? It was also you're going down, the path less trodden. That's less trodden. That was one thing, but also the space was one that we didn't have too many movers and shakers, as it were. Tell us a bit about that. It's a campus startup. It's a college startup. Tell us a bit about those years.
Absolutely, nobody gives a chance, especially because not just because of the fact that we're two college kids, but because the industry that we're taking on has been known for not having disruption, and adoption of technology. For few, adversity becomes more challenging and more exciting. So the more people who tell you that this can't happen is actually more encouraging in some way. So that's how we felt when in those days when more people used to tell us that this is difficult. It actually felt that this is a problem worth solving.
Tell me, Anu, there are lots of people who say that our headlines, like it or not, are often taken by the big guys. They're taken by the glamorous, the more sort of cooler, as rightly or wrongly sort of perceived to be spaces. How do you believe that has played out for you in the healthcare space? Do you see that changing? Are there more people getting in? Is there more focus on beyond the funding, beyond the sales, beyond the money, on people doing actual great work on the ground?
Absolutely. I think there's been a lot of startups now in the healthcare space. And it's something that people start to feel important because it's something that impacts all of us, right? And so some people have done other things but are now interested in health. So every large company is also now suddenly focused on health, because ultimately that's what determines our own future. It's the ultimate make in India, right? So I think we start to see that there's a lot of new work going on in medical devices. There's a lot of work going on in genomics. There's work going on the prevention. A lot of work on nutrition. So I think what we are headed towards is saying that if healthcare cannot be changed the way it is currently, the consumer is going to demand. And I think that's what's driving healthcare today.
Tell me, what's it been like being such a successful woman founder? Because we barely have 9% of startup founders in India are women. What's it been like for you? Have you ever felt that getting in the way? Do you believe you had to fight extra hard?
No, I don't think. I think every entrepreneur has to fight. So I don't think it's different. Being a woman, it's just that sometimes you are looked upon with a little bit more of a magnifying glass, but that's fine. That basically also is an opportunity. So it depends on how you look at it. So I think ultimately everybody needs to do their own fight. I think for us, the larger fight was we are in a more niche area.
Right.
We are in an area that's not known. So more than it being something about being a woman, I think it was more about being able to say, can I do something in a space that doesn't exist as a category today?
Right.
And I think for me that was more exciting than doing anything else. So.
India is the youngest startup nation in the world. In fact, 72% of India's startup founders are under the age of 35. And this is what young guns like Ritesh Agarwal, Albinder Dhinsa and Nidhi Agarwal had to say about their expectations from the startup policy.
We were talking earlier about what an event like this does, and you were speaking about how your parents were a bit skeptical or a bit hesitant when you wanted to start up. But events like this, you believe, are going to change that?
I think it's less about the event, but it's more about the credibility that it creates with the leader of your country being on the, in front of the real ecosystem and saying, I'm committed to do everything required to make sure that we can get out of your way and let you guys be successful. And this is the reason why our country will be so much more better. I think that is going to be very important because every parent, every family looking it out there is going to tell their guy, tell that girl in the house saying that, you really wanted to start up? It's okay. It seems like everybody's doing this. This is a great idea. We should go out and do it. And you know what? Not everyone will be successful, but it is okay because so many people will learn by going out there, talking to consumers, talking to merchants, talking to bank accounts and spending that 1 rupee to learn starting a business. That is going to create a meaningful economy because everyone in India will at least make an effort to be self-employed. Right. They will not depend on someone else to give them an employment. I think that is going to be very powerful.
Now, along the way, I know that you faced your own challenges. It's also, we now know that how you slept on stairwells because you didn't want to go back home. You believed in this. This is what you wanted to do. What was the one big learning for all those who want to be the next Ritesh Agarwal? What would you say? What was the big things that you have learned that others can learn from your experience?
I think persistence. This is something that is so important, and and again, I'm in a very, very early stage myself, and I have a long way to go. But I think it's very important, which is persistence, because a lot of times life will come with you with a lot of turbulence. Of course, events like this will happen, but out there on the ground, you're going to have issues every day, every week, every year. It's important to have that passion and ambition of saying that I'm going to solve a real problem, and all of these things are small parts along the way.
What is the one big thing that you believe is going to make a real difference on the ground, a tangible thing?
So operationally, I feel as an entrepreneur, especially as a single founder, I struggle a lot with legalities and sometimes even redundant legalities. So for me, if the government was to smoothen out, make it easier for me to start a business or run a business, especially because I am a Make in India brand, right? We have a factory operation as well. It'll go a really long way in helping me focus on what I'm supposed to do, which is making business and growing business.
And we've spoken earlier, Albinder, on just the paperwork and the running around and the red tape that you got caught up with. But something kept you going through it.
You pretty much don't have a choice. Once you sort of get into it, you will go through it. But what's really heartening to see is the government is making the right kind of promises that they will not only reduce the paperwork and all the hoops that people have to run into to start a business. And I think that's really, really good, both for entrepreneurs and also for investors who are looking to put money into India. Because I think they will see that the government is not really saying that, hey, we are going to increase our involvement. They're basically saying very clearly that we are going to be facilitators, we're going to step out of your way and make it easy for you guys to do what you want to do.
Right. And there's every reason to believe that all this talk will actually become real action on the ground?
Well, if you were to go by what the government did for the SEZs about 10 years back, I don't see why this should not materialize with Startup India.
It's time for us now to slip into a short break, but you don't go anywhere. When you come back, we get you startup tips from the founder of Paytm, Vijay Shekhar Sharma.